Hi everyone, welcome to my Summer Fruits in Watercolor series. If you're new here, my name is Emily Winslow and I love to spread the joy of watercolor to others. In this series, I will be releasing a new YouTube video every Tuesday and Friday in the month of July. So if you'd love to follow along, go ahead and subscribe to my channel to be on the lookout for those. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint blueberries with watercolor. Blueberries are one of my favorite summer fruits. I have great childhood memories of waking up on a hot July morning and going to the blueberry field with my family to pick baskets of blueberries, and I love to use them in baked goods like pancakes and muffins. So if you have any blueberry recipes, I'd love if you share that in the comments below. Let's go ahead and grab our paintbrushes and get started. Let's go over what materials we're going to be using today. So I like to have two paintbrushes with me. I have a size 8 and a size 12. And then I always have a pencil with me to sketch out what we're going to paint. And of course our paper and water. And for the paint palette, I'm using a Praying Oval 16 watercolor kit. You can grab these on Amazon. I have it linked in my description on my Amazon storefront. So let's go ahead and first start out with our sketch. So I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible to follow. So we're going to start with our stem here. And basically what we're going to do is just make a diagonal line going from top left to bottom right. And I don't want to make this too heavy of a line. I'm just sketching very lightly here. This will just give us a general idea of where we want to put our blueberries. So I'm going to start with this big one right here. I'm just going to go ahead and make a circle and try to put that a little bit. It's going to go over the branch that we did. So it'll be right about here. And again, you don't have to follow exactly where these blueberries are going. You can put them wherever you'd like. Most important is just how we're going to be painting these. So again, you can just stack them wherever you'd like. So I'm going to put the second one right below where we just drew our first one. And I'm going to make this, not sure what it's called, the outer part of the blueberry, the little blueberry hole. Basically, when I first did this painting, I didn't exaggerate this enough, and my blueberries were looking a little bit more like grapes. So I think that this little circle part is one of the most important things to make our blueberries look like blueberries. So here I'm just adding kind of this like star shape on top of the blueberry, and I'm just going to add a little semicircle here in it. So I'm just going to sketch one more little one up above it. If you need to slow this down or pause once the sketch is over, feel free to do so. I like to take my time on sketches. I kind of go a little fast during YouTube tutorials for the purpose of time, but typically when I'm painting, I will actually take a lot longer on these to perfect them a little bit more. And then I'm going to make this one right here in the middle. I like to have my paintings be pretty symmetric, so definitely recommend if you do go with a different blueberry pattern to just kind of make sure that there's even amounts on both sides so that it balances out the painting. And then I'm going to add our little blueberry hole here at the top. So I did this one over probably like 3 times. It, doesn't come easily the first time. So if you need to start this painting over at any point, do not feel discouraged. I had to start it over multiple times. This takes a lot of practice to get watercolor right sometimes. I struggle with it still. And being a perfectionist, once I see that there's going to be a mistake or something I don't like in the painting, I'm like, all right, let's start over. So no problem if that's what you need to do. Okay, once we have our blueberries, I'm gonna start adding some leaves in here. So I want this big one to be right at the bottom. I'm just gonna go ahead and make it overlap with our bottom blueberry. I like when things overlap because that's what they do in real life, so I think it just brings some realism to the painting if things overlap. We're gonna add in a stem here under our blueberry to just go up. And we're gonna add our little leaf here. Again, with balancing our painting, I think if there's any big white space, that's a good place to put our leaf. Let's go ahead and add two little ones up here. Just like that. And then I'm going to fill in my stem back here a little bit more. And let's add a little leaf right about here. And then maybe a larger one. Again, you can put leaves wherever you want, wherever you see like there might be a need. Maybe you placed more of your blueberries on the left side, maybe you can add more leaves on the right. Totally your own painting. Perfect. Okay, so once we have our sketch done, let's go ahead and start our painting. So I'm going to take I'm actually going to use my smaller brush for most of this painting. Most of my other paintings I'll usually start with my bigger brush, but because these blueberries are pretty small, I'm just going to use my smaller brush with me. So let's go ahead and mix up a really light blue/purple. So I'm going to take white and blue and purple. Blueberries, I think, kind of are a mix of both of those colors. So we have a really pretty light color, and I'm just going to go over the whole blueberry. Let's start with this bottom one here. I'm just going to spread it all around. So the important thing with this painting is we want these blueberries to look 3D, like they're spheres. So that means getting the highlights in the right places. And so I'm just gonna leave this lower left part lighter than others. So let's go ahead and mix up I got way too much black on my paintbrush. So let's mix up a darker blue-purple color. I'm just taking our blue and our purple. So let's go ahead and take that around the edge of our blueberry, trying to leave our highlights lighter. Once we have added in that darker color, we can take a wet paintbrush and just blend that in. And then I'm just going to go ahead and keep layering on however long I need. So I think I want to add a little bit more purple in here. Purple and white, maybe. I'm just going to add that wherever I see a need for color. Keeping it around the edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure to not forget about your little blueberry hole here. Let's go ahead and get an even darker color. Just again, I always say this, start from light to dark. Will make your life a lot easier with watercolor. Just go ahead and take that very dark color and keep that at the edge. We don't want that to go too far in. I want that to just add on more, make our shadow a little bit more dramatic. So I'm keeping that lightly towards the end here. I'm going to take that dark shade and add that right under our blueberry hole here, and just outline that a bit, just like that. So let's go ahead and work on the next blueberry. I'm going to mix up our light color again, and I'm just gonna take our white and blue. And this time I think I want to add just like a little bit more red. I like to have a variation in colors, just kind of adds interest to your painting. See how this is just like a different shade of blue? And we're just gonna take that all around our blueberry. I want to actually avoid our blueberry hole for now. So we're just going to spread that around, and I'm just going to get some of that paint off my brush and take a wet brush with no color, just help blend this a little bit. And then let's go ahead and take our blue with white and just add more color around the edge here. And I'm gonna take this around the edge of our blueberry hole. I want that center to be lighter so that it looks like it's highlighted. And then we're gonna do the same thing and just take our darker color, continue to layer on. So really just a pattern here is starting light, layering on. And the reason why I like doing one blueberry at a time rather than you know, going over all of them with that light color and then layering on is because I like to work with it when it's wet. It tends to blend a lot better. It might be faster, yes, if you go over all of them at once, but then you might you know, risk losing that wetness of the blueberry. So kind of why I like to stick to one at a time. Okay, we're gonna let that area dry a bit in here before we work on the rest of this. I don't know if I'm just gonna continue calling it blueberry hole for the rest of this painting. I don't know what it's really called. Okay, so let's move on to our next one. So again, I'm just gonna mix up our light blue here and spread that all across here. So I'm kind of alternating those colors. I wanted this middle one to have maybe more of a purpley tint. You can follow whatever pattern you'd like. And then same thing, just go ahead and layer on. Let me know if you have any favorite blueberry recipes. I love really anything with blueberries. I love blueberry cobbler, blueberry pie, blueberry muffins. I love putting blueberries in pancakes as well. I have this really good pancake recipe that I always follow. It has Greek yogurt in it. So let me know if you want that recipe. I can always comment it if you want. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add some more color on this left side. So I want the highlight to be more on the off center, like left side. So I'm just adding a bit more color over here. And again, let's take our dark and add that in the bottom right corner. This series is my really first time experimenting with painting fruits. I've been more of a landscape painter, so I really enjoyed, you know, venturing out to paint different subjects. I think I want to do some more like food paintings. They've been really fun so far. So let me know what else you want to learn how to paint. All right, let's move on to this blueberry. Just again, spreading our light color all around. The blueberries are definitely the hardest part of this painting. Obviously, they're the main subject, but once we finish these, I feel like it's downhill from there. Downhill in a good way of it gets easier. Okay, let's go ahead and add in our dark color. I think I want the highlight to be more on the top. Go ahead and add more color here on the bottom. Then go ahead and add that red color a bit more in. Red and blue. My parents used to always take us blueberry picking growing up. So I have just always loved blueberries ever since then. Great memories of waking up and going to the blueberry field in July. I'd always just eat them right off the stem. Probably not supposed to do that because technically I was getting free blueberries by doing that. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go around our blueberry hole here. I'm trying to stay uneven with these lines. I don't want to outline it all in one thickness, if that makes sense. Like I want it to have variation. And then let's take our darker color, and I'm just gonna do one more outline here. Just think sometimes the more shadows that you layer on just really adds on more depth. So you can keep going until you are happy. Sometimes I could just keep going on paintings forever, and I really need to stop. I'm gonna go ahead and go back here and add on those darker shadows. This little blueberry hole. Go back to this one as well. You can jump around on this painting wherever you need. So for this last blueberry, again, I'm just gonna take my light color. You know the drill by now. You'll be an expert at painting blueberries by the end of this video because we've done it 5 times. So once we have that layer, let's go ahead. I'm going to mix up the blue and purple. Let's go ahead and take that here at the bottom, or I guess it's more on the left side. Basically, I'm keeping the shadow wherever, like since this blueberry is kind of hovering over this one, I want the shadow to be where under that blueberry. Go ahead and spread that around. Again, let's take our darker color here. Go ahead and add that in here at the base. And I'm going to make this go up a little bit. Feel free to revisit any spots that you see might need a little bit of help. Okay, and then don't forget about our blueberry hole here. Add that in. Really adds to the painting. Again, think they start to look a little bit more like grapes if you don't focus on these blueberry holes right here. Okay, now that we have our blueberries done, let's go ahead and do our leaves. So I'm going to mix up a light green. So I'm taking green and white and a tad bit of orange. Let's go ahead and start with this big leaf down here. Basically, we're just going to take the tip of our brush, start at the end, and press down. I love doing leaves. They're so simple to do with watercolor. And we're going to do the same thing for each of these. do a whole tutorial on leaves, so let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Go ahead and get more color. I always like to add different colors to the green, give it more color variation instead of just using green. I like to add an orange, maybe even a blue, depending on if I want it to be a warmer versus cooler temperature. Orange or red just really adds that warmness to the green. And then let's go ahead and add a darker color for our green. I'm going to take green and brown, maybe a bit of black. Go ahead and add that here and stick to one side of the leaf. Sure, gives a little bit of shadow. Have to be too perfect with these. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more brown to some of these leaves. And just keep layering on until you're happy with it. I'm going to make a little line down some of these leaves. And then once you're happy with your leaves, let's go ahead and make our branch. So we're just going to take brown. We're going to start with a lighter brown, and then we'll add in our shadow. So go ahead and just start from the top here. I don't want it to be an even line. I want it to have, you know, some curves in there. I want some parts to be thicker than others. So go ahead and just tap in paint and just, you know, be a little bit more chaotic with it. Definitely adds to the painting when it's not a super straight line. Go ahead and add in our stems here. And now let's go ahead and the last thing we're going to do is take our black, just blend that in a little bit more with the brown, and let's just take that to one side of our branch. Gives a little bit of a shadow. Adding that in very lightly on the left side. And it just adds a little bit of depth to our painting. And we're all done with our blueberry painting. I hope you join me for my next video. I hope you all enjoyed this video and learned a little bit more about how to paint blueberries with watercolor. If you do this challenge, I'd love if you post that on your social media or your story and tag me at Watercolor with Emily. I'd love to see your work. In our next video, I'll be showing you how to paint strawberries with watercolor. So if you're looking forward to that, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for the next video. As always, you can find me on social media at Watercolor with Emily or my website, watercolorwithemily.com. Until we paint again next time.